Ooh, this next one is gonna be good. And it always happens. This is how it's going to be, and I hate to admit it to you. And some of you guys are gonna be thinking, Juliana, how do you call yourself a travel YouTuber? Hello, my beautiful travelers. Welcome back. My name is Juliana, and you're watching Tours to Local, a place where I share my travel tips, city guides, product reviews, stories from my adventures, and a lot more. I've been getting a lot of requests lately for tips on studying abroad since the school year is coming to an end and people are preparing for their next semester's adventures. Personally, I have studied abroad twice. Once in Cuernavaca, Mexico. Secondly, I studied in Chile. In Chile, I was there for a longer amount of time. I lived with a host family, whereas when I was in Mexico, I was just there for the summer, but also lived with host family. For me, studying abroad was my favorite part about college. If I could have, I would have studied abroad even more than I did, and I highly recommend giving it a chance because actually, it ended up saving me a lot of money in tuition because going abroad was a lot cheaper. I'll talk more in a future video about my experience with my particular study abroad program, which was ISA. In the meantime, I wanted to offer some general tips for studying abroad no matter where you go. But before we get started, you guys, I hit 5,000 subscribers! You know this has been my dream for forever. I've been asking you guys to subscribe like crazy, and I did it, and now my goal is 10,000. I check YouTube every single day to see how many new subscribers I've gotten. So if you have a chance, please subscribe. It's free for you and means the world to me. Plus, if you're studying abroad in Europe this upcoming semester, I am going to be traveling to Europe in the next month for a month to all sorts of places, so you'll have plenty of city guides to watch on this channel in a bit. Plus, check out my social medias down below. I love to connect with you guys and hear about your adventures. And that's it. All right, let's jump into this video. Ooh, first, let's talk packing because that can be one of the most difficult things. Trust me. When I went to Chile, I had to pack for a semester. I was supposed to be going abroad for a year, but my program got cut short. That's a whole different video for another day. I've heard stories of people shipping boxes of things to their study abroad location, and I don't think that's necessary personally. There are a lot of things you can do to make sure that you are only packing what you need, because trust me, it's gonna be a lot less than you think. First off, okay. We all have our favorite shirts, and we all have those shirts in our wardrobe that we're like, I'll put it on if I have nothing else to wear. Your study abroad trip, you deserve to be wearing the clothes that you love the most. Don't bring that t-shirt that you're like, maybe I'll need it, maybe I won't, I'm not sure. Every single thing that you pack, you should be ecstatic about. And it's also helpful if they are neutral colors so that they can go with a lot of different outfits. For me, when I was in Chile, I was packing for multiple seasons. When I arrived in July, it was actually winter there. And later on in my semester, it became summer. My suggestion is at most pack for 2 weeks of cold weather and 2 weeks of warm weather. If you can get it to even less, that's better. In terms of how I packed it, I believe I brought one big suitcase and then one backpacking backpack, and I'm gonna go into detail about why I did that in a little bit. For me, summer packing is always easy. I just pack maybe one pair of shorts, one skirt, a couple of dresses because I don't have time to create my own outfits. A dress just makes it a lot easier. And then maybe 5 t-shirts and 3 tank tops. That's it. In terms of shoes, a pair of sandals, some sneakers to wear at the gym, and some walking shoes that I can wear around town like Adidas or Converse or something. Since you're going to be living in a different country, rather than just visiting, you're able to do laundry on a weekly basis, I hope. And that means you can wash your clothes and you don't have to worry about bringing a bunch of stuff. I have a lot of packing guides on this channel for you to check out. Plus, I have a big one coming up of what I'm packing for a month in Europe for traveling around and also taking a cruise. So that's coming up, and hopefully that'll help you figure out what to pack for summer type of weather. In terms of winter, my suggestion is, you've heard it before, layer. I bring maybe 3 long sleeve shirts, 2 sweaters at most, scarf, a hat, a pair of like booties, like short boots, a pair of jeans, a pair of black pants, whether they're jeans or nicer pants. Oh, and of course some sort of jacket that preferably could condense into something smaller, or you'll wear that on the plane there so you don't have to worry about packing it. That's all I would bring for winter, and that with my stuff for summer, I know I could combine things and layer it, and that would be just fine for me. The reason I don't suggest packing everything you own is because you might be inspired by the fashion there, you might want to blend in, or you might just be bored one day and want to go shopping with your friends at the local mall. It's always important to have space in your luggage for what you're going to be taking back. And I think getting clothing as a souvenir is such a fun way to take your travels with you. Earlier I mentioned that I brought a big suitcase and a backpacking backpack as my checked luggage. The reason I opted to bring a backpacking backpack as one of my luggage options is because I would do weekend trips. And of course I don't want to take my big hunkin' luggage on a bus or on a train. It's just better to have one of those backpacks. The cool part about studying abroad is you have a home base, so you can leave the majority of your stuff there when you go out on your little weekend trips and take what you need in your backpack. Ooh, this next one is gonna be good. This is all about host families. Are you living with a host family? Are you nervous? Are you excited? I'm excited for you because if you've chosen to live with a host family, I think it's one of the most rewarding experiences. And I'm still in touch with my host families in Mexico and Chile. And at first, it's a little bit scary and a little bit awkward, I'm not gonna lie, but I have a couple tips that'll help you out. First off, I always bring a gift with me from my region as a welcome gift. Since I'm from California, that could be a nice bottle of wine, some Jelly Bellies from the Jelly Belly factory. I've brought a book about my city before, any little candies or cute little things from your area, maybe a dish towel. The options are endless. It's great if it's something from your area because that's a great conversation topic. Also, bringing a welcome gift in general is just a great way to set the tone and show your excitement for being there. Also, on the first day, it's important to get all of those tough conversations out of the way, such as dietary restrictions. I heard a good tip once that if you really don't like a kind of food, for example, like fish, tell the host family right away, I don't eat fish. You don't have to explain it, just tell them how it is. Tell them what your likes are and your dislikes are. Similarly, if you are gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, any of that, it's important to tell them right away so that there's no awkward situations when they serve you dinner and you can't eat it. My next tip for living with host families is to just show interest in their life as much as possible and eat meals at home with them. I try to do this as much as possible, but sometimes I did want to go out with my friends. I just made sure to tell my host family ahead of time so that they didn't prepare a meal for me and I wouldn't show up. Going off of this, it's also important to get a local phone for whatever country you're going to be in. That way you can call your host family. If, say, you're at school and your friends make plans there to go somewhere after, you can call your family and say, hey, I'm not coming for lunch. Super sorry. But on that note, definitely try to eat with them as much as possible. It just shows you care and that you want to spend time with them. Also, ask if you can join them for things like going to the grocery store or doing little errands. It's super fun to get to do those local side of things, and I highly suggest it to get even more education on what the culture is really like. Also, if there are any situations that come up that just make you feel uncomfortable, it is always important to talk to the supervisor at the school, whoever's in charge of the study abroad program, and let them know what's going on. It's not worth it to feel uncomfortable in a house you're staying at for a few months, so it's better to approach those issues right away. Alright, next we're going to talk some general tips just overall for studying abroad. First off, when you're booking your ticket to your study abroad location, if possible, if there's no visa restrictions, try not to book a return flight. There are always things that come up. I remember plenty of people when I was studying abroad decided they wanted to do trips together after the study abroad time was finished. And if you have a return flight, obviously that restricts you. So it's good to keep that open or at least book a flexible fare so that you can change it. This one's a little bit iffy. It's a little bit controversial in the study abroad world, but in my opinion, I don't think it's the best use of your time to stick within the bubble of your culture in your study abroad program. What I mean by that is there are study abroad programs, like one my university had, where hundreds of students from the university would just basically be transported to Italy and they would all hang out there for several months. And there's definitely opportunity to break out of the bubble, and it's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna take a lot of trying to get to know the locals and extending yourself into various clubs in the university. But what a lot of people do is they fall back on hanging out with their American colleagues. And here's the thing, it can be a lot of fun. It depends what you're trying to look for. Personally, I don't think that that's what study abroad is really made for. I think that it's important to extend yourself, to try to learn the culture, to try to learn the language. And when you're hanging out with people from your same culture, you're gonna feel more inclined to speak your language you natively speak, to just do things that they want to do, and maybe not push yourself as much as you want. I'm not saying that's always the case, and of course, if you're feeling homesick, I think having a group of friends from your culture is an amazing thing. However, I think you should try to extend yourself and participate in things that are offered in the university that can help you meet locals or other international students, because there are going to be other people from different cultures also studying abroad. Some ideas of ways to break out of the bubble are join a gym or some fitness classes. That's a great way to meet people. Join the international club at your university. That's one of my biggest tips because they're always putting on great programs and it's a melting pot of different cultures. Also, sometimes universities put on language exchange programs where maybe you will all meet in a cafe and there'll be locals there and exchange students and you talk to a conversation partner for a bit. I think that's a really great way to get to know the culture a little bit more, practice language, and maybe make some new friends. Another way you can meet people and another way you can push yourself even more is to adventure on your own. I challenge you right now, if you're watching this and planning on studying abroad, to do one adventure on your own. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe just spend an entire day by yourself, go to the park, read a nice book, go to a cafe. It could be something small like that, or even something more challenging like a weekend trip away all by yourself where you have to figure things out. It is the best learning experience. I highly recommend solo traveling, and there's plenty on this channel to give you some advice on how to go about that. The thing about solo traveling is you're never really alone. You're always gonna meet people along the road, and those are some of the best friends that you will make and some of the best adventures you'll have. Another tip is to start planning now where you would like to visit. Start researching, start reading blogs. I love watching YouTube videos about places. I love to get a visual and see what things look like, and start making notes in a journal of what the top places you would like to visit in the area are. Another tip is to scan your passport and university documents and send them to your email. It's super important to do that. That way, if you lose something, you have it as a copy and it will get you a lot further. One tip I have heard time and time again, and it is so true, is set a weekly budget. And it always happens. This is how it's going to be, and I hate to admit it to you, but this is how it's gonna be. You're gonna show up to your study abroad place, it's gonna be the first month or first week, and you're gonna be spending like crazy. Really, because you're so excited, you don't understand what the prices of things really are, you're gonna overpay for things, you're not gonna wanna miss out, you're gonna get a lot of FOMO if you do, and you're gonna spend a lot of money. Set a budget now. Figure out how much you're going to allow yourself to spend total and break it up by week. With all the leftovers from the week, if you have any, I usually didn't, but if you do, save it for a bigger trip that you're planning to do later on in your study abroad adventure. Martín was telling me about how he was only able to do 2 really big trips during his study abroad time because he was spending too much money at the beginning and didn't save it for the end. And at the end, his friends decided to do a really big trip and he wasn't able to participate. So if you're budgeting yourself accordingly, it's just gonna be a lot less painful for you when you have to miss out on other things in the future. And my last tip, and this one's really weird, and some of you guys are gonna be thinking, Juliana, how do you call yourself a travel YouTuber? But I think the coolest thing, okay, maybe not the coolest thing, that's a little bit dramatic, but one really interesting thing is to visit McDonald's in different countries. Don't think I'm crazy, don't X out, hear me out. So when I was a marketing student, I learned all about how different McDonald's around the world market their products differently, use different ingredients depending on the culture. And I'm not saying to go into McDonald's and order yourself a Big Mac like you would in the US. I'm saying go in, look at the menu, and see and notice what's different. For example, when I was in Chile, they are huge on avocados there, even more than us in the US, and I don't know how that's possible, but they are big on avocados and it was on everything. Also, they had empanadas there, which is a very popular dish in Chile. Maybe the place that you visit won't be any different than in the US, but it's worth giving it a shot. It's a fun little challenge I want you to try, and if you do it, and if you remember ever watching this video, leave a comment down below of how the McDonald's you visited was different. I think it will be in most places, but I don't know. I'm just trying to encourage you guys to think outside the box and try new things while you're studying abroad. Alright, if you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below of more study abroad tips. I would love to hear some and pass them along to people that I know are studying abroad, and let's just start a conversation. Also, check out my social media. My Instagram has been popping with the photos lately, and soon I'll be in Europe, and I can't wait to share all those adventures with you as well. That's it for this video. So long, travel well, and make the world your neighborhood.